Om Tumeva Mata cha Pita Tumeva Bandhuscha Saka Tumeva Vidya Dravinam Tumeva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Sri Dakshinamurti Sudeshikendram Dvaipayanam Sutrakritam Munindram Sri Shankaram Bhashyakritam Yatindram Maddeshi Namami Vityai ओम नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः सर्वोपप्लवरहित प्रज्ञान गणः प्रत्यगर्तो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि। ओम पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीं। नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे पुल्लारविन्दाय तपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयः प्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दुग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्ससुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। भीष्मद्रोण तथा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला। अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णाः खलु पाण्डवैरणनदी कैवर्तकः केशवः। पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थघण्टोत्कटं नानाख्यानकसेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितं। लोके सज्जनषट्पदैरहरः पेपीयमानं मुधा भूयाद्भारतपङ्कजं कलिमल प्रध्वंसिन श्रेयसे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः। ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। ओम कृष्णाय परमात्मने नमः। Pranams everyone. So we took a small break for a couple of classes. We are now back. So just to give a quick recap of where we are and what we had started with. We are doing this chapter 13, sloka number 8 to 12. We are doing that. And these are basically the values that one must possess or one must inculcate, one must have for a person to be able to understand this divine knowledge. This divine knowledge of Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi. And once we have this knowledge of Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi, that is the state of Moksha. Moksha meaning permanent peace and happiness, that happiness that will not leave us. It is not the happiness that comes and goes, it is a happiness, everlasting bliss. As they say, Satchit Ananda, that's Swarupa. And not only that, this knowledge also helps us in actually overcoming the cycle of samsara. Samsara meaning the cycle of birth and death also. So we were looking into the values, and Bhagavan had given about 24 values there. We were looking one after the other. We had started with Amanitvam, Adambitam, Ahimsa, Kshanti, Arjavam. Acharyopasanam, Shaucham, Stairyam, Atma Vinigraha. We are seeing a lot of values. In the last class, we were seeing Vivikta Desha Sevitvam. So we were seeing Sloka number 11. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Mayi Chanyanya Yogena Bhaktiravya Vicharini Vivikta Desha Sevitvam Aratirjana Samsadi. So we saw that, and we saw Bhakti. Bhakti is basically Bhagavan qualified that Bhakti or qualified that devotion. He said Ananya Yogena, without any mix. Basically he said, give me undivided attention, complete attention, total attention. And Avya Vicharini, consistent, unswerving devotion. Not that today I feel Bhakti, tomorrow I don't feel, I have a doubt on the existence of Bhagavan himself. Not that kind of a Bhakti. It is consistent Bhakti. So he said that Bhakti if you should have. And we said, how can we improve this Bhakti? Basically through Satsanga and also through understanding Ishvara. We had seen in the introduction to Vedanta series, we had tried to understand Bhagavan. We will be seeing also these kind of topics in Bhagavad Gita also. In fact, from chapter 7 onwards, Bhagavan will be explaining about himself. From chapter 7 onwards. So when we are doing Bhagavad Gita, we will also go through the same topics. So understanding Ishvara, because once we understand something, we start to love better. Or rather, our love increases once we start having understanding. Initially, we need to have some love for us to understand that person. And once we start understanding the person, we will start to love that person better. Then the third one is Shraddha. Increasing the Shraddha, doing whatever we are doing to Bhagavan with full attention. And Bhakti can also be increased through whatever our elders have taught us, which is basically chanting, doing pujas, going for tirtha yatras, doing japa, all those things. So all these things are initially difficult, but with practice we can improve our bhakti. Then we saw Vivikta Desha Sevitvam. Basically seeking solitude, looking for opportunities to be alone. This is important because only when we are alone we will be able to understand ourselves better. We need to understand what is in our inner mind, in our deep mind. We will have to bring it out and we will have to reconcile with those feelings. And only when we are able to do that, the initial part is about actually cleansing the mind to understand what we have in our mind. And then once we understand what is in our mind, we will have to take action or do sadhana to cleanse our mind. So if we have too much of hatred, if we have too much of anger, or if we have too much of pride, or if we have too much of jealousy, we will have to first understand that first and then do some sadhanas to remove those bad qualities. And then this same Vivikta Desha Sevitvam, seeking solitude, will then later on help us to assimilate whatever good we have got or whatever knowledge we have gained through studying Shastras, listening to Gurus, whatever we have understood. This being alone, seeking solitude, we will be able to get that conviction by constantly reflecting on what has been taught. So this Vivikta Desha Sevitvam is important. From a Laukika standpoint, from a relationship standpoint, being alone, seeking solitude is one way of actually slowly getting ourselves slightly independent. We are always looking for some dependence. We are always looking for some comfort, emotional comfort. and we seek this emotional comfort only from people outside. So this seeking solitude will help us to actually slowly make ourselves a bit more independent. So these are the reasons why we should be seeking solitude. Then in the same sloka, so we had seen so far till the last class, I believe. Now in the same sloka, Bhagavan is saying the next value is Arati Jana Samsadi. Vivikta Desha Sevitvam Aratir Jana Samsadi. Aratihi Jana Samsadi. Aratihi means non-indulgence. Non-indulgence, Jana Samsadi. Non-indulgence in people's company, or rather we can say not desiring people's company. So in the earlier value it was about seeking solitude. So seeking solitude is we try to be in a position where we are not surrounded by known people, or we are really alone. That is one way. Here Bhagavan is saying, do not go after saying that I need a crowd of people around me. So do not desire for. Am I not audible? Hello? Hari Om?
Okay, Bala.
Okay. So here Bhagavan is saying, do not seek people's company. Do not seek crowd. Some people always like to have a group of people around themselves. Bhagavan says here, do not do that. But here, what sort of people Bhagavan is mentioning? He says, stay away from Dut Sangha. He gives additional qualification. When Shankara Adi Shankara gives their commentary for this, he actually adds another qualification here. He says, do not have people's company who basically only those who are bad. Basically, Dutsanga, he says. Samskara Shunyanam, he says. Samskara Shunyanam means people who do not have any samskaras. People who do not have any good qualities. In other words, we can say Dutsanga. Because only when we actually disassociate ourselves from Dutsanga, our mind will go towards Satsanga. Otherwise, Dutsanga will be so captivating, so tempting, that we will not like to leave it. Only when we are able to let go of Dutsanga, we will be able to get on to Satsanga. And only from Satsanga, we can go to Asanga. Remember, the ultimate idea is to be Asanga, which is non-dependent on any Sangam. To be independent emotionally. And for us to be emotionally independent, first we will have to get away from Dutsanga, move to Satsanga, and from Satsanga to Asanga. In fact, Shastras, when we say Dutsanga, Shastras actually categorize the humans into four types of people, or four groups of people, or four sets of people. The first one is basically adharmika. People who can live in any manner. They do not have any values. They do not believe in all the good things. They can live in anything. As long as I get what I need, what I desire, that's enough. So I can do whatever it takes to get my desires fulfilled. That is adharmika. Then the second one is Vishayahinaha. Vishayahinaha means they are dharmic people only, but still have their worldly desires. They have the worldly desires as goals. I want to get my son married. I want to get my daughter into good education. I want to get into promotion. I want to get this much of money. I want to build a house. I want to get myself a car. I want to have a better quality of life. All those things are all dharmic goals. There's nothing wrong in those goals, but they are all worldly desires still. Those are all laukika goals. So these are the Vishayinaha. Then the third category, Shastras classify them as sadhakas, sadhakaha. These are basically mumukshus, or people who want to go beyond these worldly desires. Worldly desires are incidental. The ultimate desire or the ultimate goal for these people are moksha, to transcend this samsara, to get over from the cycle of birth and death, to be happy always, not get happiness and sadness back on one after the other. They want to be permanently happy. So those are the sadhakas. Then the fourth one is siddhas. Siddha means that jnanis, people who have attained that state of moksha. For them, there is no worldly desire, there is no spiritual desire also, because they have already attained it. So here, when Shankara says avoid dursanga, which set of people do we need to categorize them here? The Shankara says not just the adharmikaha, we will have to include also the vishayinaha, people who have dharmic but have worldly desires. Bhagavan says stay away from both these set of people, because reason is, if we have some bit of viveka or vairagya built in, if we have some amount of sadhana chatushtayam, we have built some amount of little bit of conviction about this understanding of this world, about the nature of this world, everything. We know that these are all impermanent. We have some bit of understanding, still it has not got to a stage of full conviction. Then what happens when we get into this company? They will not be talking about these things. They will be talking about all the worldly desires. Did you get that jewelry? Did you buy that sari? Did you see that particular car? What about the other property? What is happening in the share market, stock market? All those things. It will, whatever little knowledge or conviction that we have will slowly fade away. And not only that, when we actually try to bring this topic, they will give, they will give us convincing arguments on why we are in the wrong path. They will give logic in saying, after all, you have one life. This is the age to enjoy. What are you doing now? Are you not actually? Don't you feel bored? These are all things for after 60 retirement. As if you want to be happy only after 60. But they will give all these kind of convincing arguments, and they will convince us why we have chosen the wrong path. So for us to be careful, we have to and not get immersed in all these discussion. We will have to avoid that sangha, because the more we stay with them, the more we will get attracted. We will think maybe they are right, because they are majority. They give convincing logic, and outwardly they seem to be more happy than us. So we would think that they are right, and we quickly forget the path that we should be in. And that is exactly the reason why Bhagavan is warning us in this particular sloka through this value. He is saying, avoid such company. Because remember, getting viveka or vairagya is a very slow process. It doesn't happen overnight. Stock market money can happen overnight. Viveka and vairagya takes years to build. It's a slow process. And if I lost something, it is very difficult to gain it back. It doesn't happen the next day. Again, the stock market example. I may lose money today, I may gain money, the same money next day. But with Viveka and Vairagya, if I have lost something, For me to gain it back, it takes again a longer process. So it is always advised that we should be more closer with people having a little bit of viveka and vairagya, much more than us. People with emotional maturity much better than us. So we should look for that sort of a company. That is called as satsanga. So even within our house, we may encounter these kind of people like saying, why are you wasting your time? This is not for you. This is not for us. All those things. At that point of time, we should just keep quiet. Mauna. We need not argue. We need not fight with them. We just listen to them. And then we should just understand why we are. We should get our conviction. And generally, the number of people then we have for this sangha will become very, very small. Suppose guests come and then we say, okay, now come on, let us sit and chant. The next day nobody will come. They'll say, oh, that place is a boring place. If you go there, they will ask you to chant or do some bhajan or do something or discuss Vedanta. It is not for us. They will not come. But Bhagavan says, look for such company. Or he says, even if you are not able to get that company, avoid dutsanga. It is better to be alone than to be in a bad company. So that is Aratir Jana Samsati. So we have done sloka number 11. Now we will go to sloka number 12. Adhyatma jnana nityatvam tatyajnanartha darshanam yetad jnanamiti proktam ajnanam yadatenyata. Adhyatma jnana nityatvam tatvajnanartha darshanam yetad jnanamiti proktam ajnanam yadatenyata. So now comes the value number 19. Tattva jnanartha darshanam. Tattva jnanartha darshanam. Tattva means truth. Jnana, knowledge. Artha has got many meanings. In this context, it is benefit or the fruit. Artha. Darshanam means seeing or bringing to our mind. So Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam means seeing the benefit of knowledge of what? Of the truth. Or seeing the benefit of the knowledge. Which knowledge? The knowledge of the truth. As human beings, our first duty in this world is actually to get this knowledge of truth. That is, if somebody asks what is the purpose of your life, what is the purpose of your life? Everybody will say different meaning, different purposes. I am here to actually do this, I want to get this. Those are not purpose. Those are all our desires. Those are all our things that we want to do for ourselves or our family, our ego, whatever be it. The purpose is given by Ishvara. Why are we born? And if we have to take that as the question, then the purpose or the duty for us is to get this knowledge of the truth. To see what is real, to understand what is real, and take the benefit of that knowledge. And what is the benefit of this knowledge? What is this benefit of this knowledge of the truth? The knowledge of the truth. What is the truth? The truth is Aham Brahmasmi. Tattvamasi. I am Satchit Ananda. That is the truth. And what is the benefit of that knowledge? The benefit of the knowledge, Shastras have spoken about it in multiple places. They give the benefits again and again. And we have seen there are two major benefits. One is Jivan Mukti. The other one is Videha Mukti. Jivan Mukti is I am free from samsara even when I am alive. Even when I am alive, I am in the state of moksha. I am mukti. I am liberated. I am completely free. Free from what? I am free from sadness. I am free from jealousy. I am free from pride. I am free from ego. I am free from anger. I am free from any kind of emotional bondage. I am ever happy. That is Jivan Mukti. Dukkha Nivritti. Freedom from sadness. Because everything will ultimately give us sadness only. This pride, jealousy, anger, everything. So this freedom from sadness is Jivan Mukti. What is Videha Mukti? The freedom from birth and death cycle. I don't need to worry about whether what am I going to be born as in my next life. Whether I'm going to be born as an ant or as a lizard or as a snake or as a cow. I don't need to worry about it. Or as another human being. But even if it is a human being, whether I'll be born here or in Somalia or in Iraq, where? I don't need to worry about, because I will be free from birth and death cycle. And this is the benefit of this knowledge. And Upanishad itself, it actually gives this knowledge, this benefit in different words. In some places it will say abhayam. Abhayam. Because fear and anxiety are the key things that are there in human beings. We are always afraid of certain things. There are always anxieties about tomorrow, about our children, about our health, about our future, about our job, about our financial position, about our emotional support. There's always this anxiety. So Upanishad says, abhayam. You don't have any fear. You will not have any fear. In some places it will say, ko moham, ko soham. There is no delusion and therefore there is no sadness. Ko moham, ko soham. Some places it says nadvesha. Nadvesha, non-hatred. Typically, if we see our life, whomever we meet, we immediately want to judge them and we immediately want to classify them as either I like that person or I dislike that person. We would have seen that person only once, but immediately we would want to decide one way or other. I don't like that person. I don't like that person's attitude. I don't like the person the way he talks. I don't like the person the way he behaves. So immediately this feeling, the dvesha or raga, that comes immediately. Shastra says, nadvesha, you will not feel any hatred. In some places, what is this Jivan Mukti? We can also say, this is a state where I do not have any complaint about anyone or anything. I do not have any complaints. I wish, that question of I wish will never come in my mind. I wish my spouse was like that. I wish my boss was better. I wish I had better job. I wish I had joined that particular, I wish I had bought that particular stock. I wish I had settled down here. That kind of a hurt or guilt feeling, or the missed feeling, I will not have. And there will be no insecurity also. Insecurity has got a lot of problems. Insecurity will will be the cause of a lot of other problems. Insecurity will make us feel overprotective about someone, we will or over dependent on someone or some things or certain possessions. So we will not have that feeling, Jivan Mukti. There will no be feeling of hurt or guilt. Oh, that person has actually, spoken to me badly. That person has actually treated me badly. I am hurt by that. There will be no such feeling. Or I will not have this feeling of guilt. As I said, I wish I had done that. That is a kind of a guilt feeling. So there will not be any kind of a guilt feeling also. I should not have married this person. I should not have agreed to this. I should not have fought with this person. Or I should have fought with this person. No such feeling. Total peace, total contentment. That is Jivan Mukti. Now, why am I saying this? Because we have to bring these things again and again in our mind. That's what this value is about. This value is what is about? Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam. The benefit of this truth, we will have to see this, the benefit again and again in our mind. So we will have to say, oh, why am I in this path? Because I am going to get these benefits. And I need to keep bringing this up again and again and again in my mind. And only if I do that, I will be able to, pursue this path. Oh, I am in there for a reason. And that reason is because I don't want to hate anyone. I don't want to have any kind of chanchalam in my mind. I want to be peaceful. I want to be contented. I want to be happy. I should not have any complaints. I should not be dependent on anyone. So that is the thing that we want to bring. The problem is, we might have the knowledge of the benefit. We might say, okay, this is the benefit that I'm going to get. But we have not experienced it. We have not experienced the feeling of Nadvesha. We have not experienced the feeling of Abhaya. We have not experienced it because we have not reached the stage. So, but we should get there. And this Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam is a value. Why does Bhagavan says it's a value? Because the more we do that, I keep bringing it again and again. I pursue this path, and once I pursue this path, once I get the truth, once I am able to get the knowledge of the truth, then I can let go of this value. Because I will be already experiencing it. I don't need to bring the Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam, because I will be in the state of Abhaya. I will be in the state of Nadvesha. So until that time, we'll have to do. So why do we need to keep thinking of this benefit? This Atma Jnana, this Aham Brahmasmi, its knowledge is still a long way to go. We'll have to do sadhanas. So we'll have to motivate ourselves to do the sadhanas, to reach there. What are the sadhanas? Whatever we had seen until now, Amanitvam, Adambitvam, Ahimsa, Shanti, Arjavam, all those things. Those sadhanas are difficult. No doubt it is difficult, and we will falter also in between. There will be an initial enthusiasm, and then soon we will falter also. Then we will go into some kind of a mandam. We will go into a dull state sometimes. And then sometimes we say it is not for us. Or maybe I will pick it up later in my life. Or I will say I will pick it up in my next birth. But to avoid that, to keep motivating ourselves, this Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam is important. This Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam will inspire us. It gives us the kind of a charge. Okay, I am here. I need to do this. And why this Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam? Because generally speaking, our mind is always like, what is in it for me? What am I going to? If somebody asks me to do something, I'll say, what do I get in return? I always want to know what am I getting as a benefit. So Bhagavan knows this, and therefore he says, look, you are here because the benefit is immeasurable, unquantifiable, and these are the benefits, and you keep thinking of those benefits, then you will do. And remember, whatever little sadhanas that we do towards amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa, whatever little sadhanas that we do, every step, even if a small step, Bhagavan assures us, Ishvara assures us that that effort will not go wasted. It will not go wasted. It will have its effect. Slowly, but surely we will be changing. And every change will give us a bit more peace, a bit more happiness, a bit more contentment, a bit more relaxation. We will be much more relaxed than before. Same issue, if it had happened few years back, we would have behaved differently. Now we would be behaving differently. That's because we would have matured. So this, every effort will have its impact. And we have to keep reminding, this Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam is very important. At the same time, we will also need to keep reminding ourselves that nobody in this world will have complete satisfaction from any worldly object. Whoever it may be the richest man in the world, it may be the strongest man in the world, or it might be the most powerful man in the planet, whoever it may be, they will not have any complete satisfaction from any worldly object. Worldly object meaning any person, any other relation, any other object, any other situation, any situation, they will not have any complete satisfaction. So, Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam is for us to keep reminding ourselves of the benefit that we will get by being in this path. Next value, value 20, the last value, Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam. Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam. Actually, in the sloka, this comes first. Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam. But the last one, I actually changed 19 and 20 because it makes more sense. Because the Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam is basically, Bhagavan says, constant Vichara on Atma Vishayam. Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam means do constant Vichara on Atma. Basically, Vedanta, Shravana, Manana, Nidhidhyasana. What we are doing now is Shravana. We are listening through our ears, whatever Shastra says. So this listening is Shravanam. Mananam is when we go back, reflect, and then clarify our doubts. Clarify our doubts in a proper manner, not Vedantavada, but trying to seek answers, proper answers. Then that is Mananam. Then Nidhidhyasanam is basically the internalization. We try to reflect it again and again to internalize that knowledge. So, Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam means Shravana, Manana, Nidhidhyasanam. What is Shravanam? I have already said, consistent and systematic study of scriptures. We have to be consistent and we have to be systematic. There is a kind of a syllabus. So we have to go through that syllabus. It is not that today I hear this portion, then tomorrow I hear another portion from another topic. I suddenly go to Viveka Chudamani, suddenly I go to Upanishad, then I come back to Gita, then I go to Tattva Bodha. We will be confused. Or we listen to different gurus, that is also will be difficult. So it says consistent and systematic study of scriptures, and it is not overnight, for a lengthy period of time. It has to be done for a lengthy period of time. So consistent and systematic study of scriptures for a lengthy period of time under the guidance of a live and competent guru. we need to have a guru who can take us through this, who will be able to tell us what to study, how to move forward. And it has to be consistent. It is not that today I do and then 3 months I take a break and then I come back. It has to be consistent. Mananam, it is, as I said, dwelling upon the teaching. I keep reflecting back on the teaching, and then if I get my doubts, I get clarified from the Guru. So all my doubts regarding this Vedantic teaching is all cleared, and I am able to see this Vedantic teaching as flawless and factual. That is important. I have to see this teaching as flawless and it has to be factual. Then finally, Nidhidhyasana is basically internalization, as I said, or assimilation. We can say assimilation of the teaching. And this assimilation can be done in many ways. One is through meditation, or we can also do assimilation through repeated listening. I keep listening again and again. That is also another way of assimilation. Another way of assimilation is to discuss with others. So I keep discussing that, I'll be able to assimilate it better. Or by teaching others. So by teaching others, I will be able to assimilate. So there are many ways to assimilate this knowledge. And this knowledge has to internalize. Just as the food that we eat becomes nutrition of the body, it turns into carbohydrates, minerals, vitamins. Once we get into our food, into our body, the same way this Atma Jnana that we listen, it should become part of our personality. It should reflect in the way we deal with this world, in this world, or the way we actually look at this world. This knowledge should be available spontaneously to me during day-to-day transactions. It's not that I listen somewhere and then I keep it in my own corner of the memory. When exam comes, I write it and then I forget it. It is not that sort of a subject. It is a sort of a subject that I would want to become made of my personality. Just like when I was born, I didn't know how to walk. Now nobody teaches me how to walk, and I will not forget how to walk also. Initially I have tried about 100,000 times to even get up when I was a kid. And then I learnt difficult through multiple times I fell down. We would have fallen down and we had learnt the art of walking. Now I will not forget it at all. It is available spontaneous. The moment something comes, if I have to jump and run or walk, I will be able to do it. In the same way, this Atma Jnana should become part of my personality. It should be available for me on day-to-day transactions. So this is Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam. This is basically the last 19th one, Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam. Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam is the 19th one which I had brought as 20. The reason is the other 19 are all belonging to one category. For example, if I say, if I have to release hunger, if I'm hungry and I want to actually get over hunger, what do I need to do? I have to do two things. One is basically cook, then I have to eat. Both are equally important. And the order is also very important. I cannot eat and then cook. So whatever those 19 that we discussed first are all belonging to the first category. Basically preparatory steps for me to do the last one. Basically where I can do the Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam. The Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam is Shravana, Manana, Nidhidhyasana. For me to be able to do the Shravana, Manana, Nidhidhyasana properly, I will have to inculcate all the 19 values. So that is why I changed the order. So because without these 19, the jnana will not go in. Or even if the Nana goes in, the assimilation would not have happened properly. It may be only bookish knowledge. It may not be available for that person to use in situations. So unless we are in a position to use it, there is no, that jnana is useless. And this jnana yoga is very important. If we do not have those values, that knowledge itself can become counterproductive. So we will have to be careful. And what happens is, if those values are not there, and if we try to get this knowledge will not get into us also. It says Aham Brahmasmi, we will explain logically, we can use the rope snake example, we can use multiple examples to even say why we are Atma and not this body. Everything will be there, and we will say, okay, I'm able to understand, but this knowledge is not useful at all, because I am not happy. Ultimately, the reason for me to study all this is to become happy. And why am I not happy? Because I have not assimilated all those values. So this knowledge is there as a third person's knowledge, third party knowledge, and it is not useful to me. Slowly what will happen? We will lose faith in Shastras or the Guru. They say Gita is useless, Upanishads are waste, Shastras are not for, it is only humbug. We will start doing the other way. We will try to find fault with Shastras, we will try to find fault with Guru, without knowing that the real problem lies with us, that we have not made ourselves competent enough to get this knowledge. So these are the 20 values that Bhagavan gives here between Sloka 8 to 12. The 19 of them are all preparatory stage, basically the body and mind conditioning stage. Amanitvam, Adambitvam, Ahimsa, Shanti, Arjavam, Acharya Upasanam, Shaucham, Stairyam, Atma Vinigraha, all those values are all preparatory values. So that the last one where we can do, the 20th one is Shastra Vichara, Shravana, Manana, Nidhidhyasana. We will be able to do it better. So these are the 20 values. We will complete we will stop here for chapter 13. We will revisit chapter 13 from when we go back to the beginning. But these values are important, and as I told in the first few classes, Swami Omkarananda Swamiji actually asked me to, when I said I want to conduct these classes, he said first do these values, then chapter 16, and then proceed. So we will do these values, and then we will move to chapter 16, and chapter 16 we will do the entire chapter, and then we will go to chapter 1. So this is the 20 values. Are there any questions, comments? So next class we will do chapter 16. Okay. There are no questions or comments, then we will again see in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.